60 years ago, me and my two best buddies, we went out there and we saved the free world. I remember it as though it was just last week that it happened.
I think it was.
It was 60 years ago in 1940 something. That day, I'll remember it forever, for the rest of my life. But now I am just an old man. I am past my prime. I gave the best years of my life to the Yogscast and the Allied forces fighting for freedom in the Second World War. The half track was not the most comfortable ride. Certainly not. There wasn't much in the way of seats. So basically, the only cushion that was available was your own testicles, which didn't make for a comfortable ride. I mean, sure, the first minute or two, it was quite titillating. But from, 5 minutes to an hour onwards, you're then thinking, I really hope I'm not planning to have children at any time in the future, because it's not going to happen. If you can see my balls now, they're just flat, like two cow pats, but pink, covered in hair. That's what they're like. I think the favourite part of the day was when we were all huddled in that barn, filled with all that really weird stuff, full of like guns and uniforms and stuff.
There you go. Oh, careful. Oh, now there's a little bit of wrapper on there. It's stuck to the thing. You want it now? Okay, fine, you just eat the wrapper. That's fine. Okay.
And it was really cold in there. And then what happened was your dad came in and lit like a jet engine up. He started a jet engine in there to use as a heater. I mean, that's just insane. Absolutely insane.
Hello. I'd like to inform you just how hot this thing is. I don't know what it is. It's called the turbo something. It was probably developed slightly after World War II, powered by nuclear fission, probably radiating us all horribly. It is horrible and terrifying and smells of gas and very, very hot.
And after just being like a little bit sort of frazzled and on edge from all the stuff happening outside, from people with guns and being out in the terrible elements and being on those jittery vehicles and having things explode in your hand, to then go inside and have just a jet engine on. I would have preferred like a nice sort of log fire, something relaxing, but no. Good God.
During the digging scene, you requested help with the use of a pigeon. Is that something you've done before? Do you often use a carrier pigeon to call for aid?
Well, you know what it's like. You get up in the morning, you make a cup of tea, and open the fridge, there's no milk. What I like to do is I like to leave a little note out for a pigeon, and then the pigeon will come by dressed in a little milkman's uniform. He'll pick up the note and then tap with his little beak on the front door. I open the door, I say, "Good morning, Mr. Pigeon." He walks in. I say, "Do come in." He walks in. He then steps onto the counter where I've got my very, very black cup of tea. It's not a race thing. Very black cup of tea. I wanted milk in it. He very kindly provides milk for me. Expresses himself into my tea. So, yeah, I've utilised pigeons. We had rations, of course, because it was a war. There was a war on. We were in it as well. So we didn't get any food. There's no bananas, obviously. No coffee either. No tea. Powdered egg we had. No sugar, because that's from abroad. So we had to have honey, but we had to milk the bees for the honey ourselves, which took hours, and you'd only get the smallest bit of honey to spread on your crackers, because we didn't have bread either.
No?
There's no bread, just crackers, just Jacob's crackers. Other crackers are available. Very dry, and no tea. It was just powdered milk in a glass. In order to make it into liquid, you had to spit in it. But of course your spit wasn't enough. So you had to pass the glass around and everyone had to spit in it in order to turn it into liquid milk. In fact, the crackers themselves, on the journey, because they were on the back of the half track, they were just broken down. In the end, they were just powder too. So it was just powdered milk, powdered egg, the powdered cracker. I stopped bothering with just eating it and I just snorted like a line of it. I was just... full belly, delicious.
What's the worst that can happen?
Pressurised air when it's
What do you think of your fellow soldiers on the day? How did you find Lewis and Duncan, whereas members of Simple Company?
They did a lot of larking about. I don't think they took it seriously.
Yo ho ho!
Yo ho ho! What, are you a fucking pirate? On a tractor?
Pirate farmer.
They just thought it was fun and games. When in actual fact, our lives are in danger.
Oh my god!
Holy shit, you've got an axe!
I mean, I knew this all too well after suffering that terrible awful injury that it also affected my speech. It's like post-traumatic. Yeah. Yeah, what was going on with the mud fight? They just had a mud fight in a foxhole. It was this bizarre homoerotic encounter that they just flinging mud around. And then Lewis picked up a massive block of mud and attempted to injure Duncan with it. It's very irresponsible because, I mean, if they had succeeded and badly injured each other, they would have been me with my hand, them two tired and covered in mud, maybe a sprained ankle, maybe, a bit of dirt in their eye, and then, because there's no Optrex in the Second World War. It hadn't been invented. Possibly. I'm not sure. I'll have to look up on Wikipedia. Probably wasn't invented. Certainly the soldiers wouldn't have had it. Unless a pigeon sort of flew in with some, which is a possibility, I guess.
Do you want to say anything to camera first or not? Well, that was easy. Getting across the minefield, or do you not know it was there? Okay. Okay, cool. That was close.
I wish I had seen the piece of mud just sort of somersaulting through the air to land perfectly on Al Smithy's head. But in the end, he was fine. He wasn't injured in any way. And I was a bit pissed off by that because he was the guy who was in charge of the munitions, including the grenades. So I'm the one that gets injured, and him, who's responsible for it, he just gets a bit of mud on his head. And he just went, and that was it. I couldn't do that with my hand. I couldn't just brush off my hand. It's not how it works. It's attached to you. And this is robot hand now.
Robo hand.
Robo hand. Robo hand. That's what it does.
It's,
I can actually use it as a phone as well.
would you like to
See?
demonstrate? Okay, so what was your favourite
Also
one?
a gun.
A gun.
Look.
Can you, are there any other functions of RoboHand?
You can tell people that everything's all right with it. You can do that with it. You can do that with it. It's brilliant, actually. You can do all sorts of useful... They're all apps that I installed.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to pay like 69p for each one of those, but it's worth it. Getting up on the tank was rough. Tanks, they're not really sort of designed for people to sort of clamber onto, and I managed, just barely. And there was nothing to hold on to really whilst I was up there. I had to sort of have my arm around a gun and hold on for dear life. It had just started to rain during that point of the war. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't like going on holiday, even though we were in France. We were actually in France for that.
Get a fiver for it.
Okay, let's get the traffic.
Oh, shit.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
Did you think your gun went?
How was it getting into the uniform, dressing up as a soldier for the day? 'Cause we've not,
For the day?
we've not done that much.
It wasn't for the day, it was for years we were out there. Years. Fighting a war so that you could be there and be flippant to me. How dare you? I'm very upset. Sad, Simon. Sad, so sad. But look, you made me sad. Sad. Be very careful with that is a grenade. Yep, make a bang. Whoa! Oh, I missed! Oh no! What have you done?
Whoa! That's how it's done.
Hey! Want to do one, Simon? I'm too scared, Duncan.
Yeah, give me your gun. I want you to throw a grenade. Come on, let's have Simon throw a grenade, everyone.
There was a malfunction with a grenade. I think only a couple of them actually worked properly out of the whole box on the day. And of course, you know, the one that went horribly, horribly wrong was the one that I used. I was very badly injured. My hand was shaking and it was quite red. And there was a black mark on one of my fingers. Can you see?
Scorch marks.
Scorch marks on me. I've probably narrowed down to 2 people that were responsible for the grenade, and obviously I'm not one of those 2 people. First of all, the person who made the grenade in the factory. I don't know where it was made, but I guess probably not England, because we make things up to a certain standard. So I'm guessing it's overseas somewhere, made on the cheap. So that person in that factory, and if it's made overseas, it's probably a little boy or a little girl in a factory that made it. You know, I hope they're punished. I hope their pay is docked from, 50 cents a day to 40 cents for that terrible injury that I suffered. And number 2, as I said earlier, the box of grenades were just left out to the elements, to the rain. So God, or possibly John Ketley, the weatherman, one of those was responsible. There wasn't a lot of celebration to do by the end of the war. In fact, Lewis and Duncan, they didn't make it. It makes me cry to think about it. Sad, Simon. It makes me sad.
It's okay. I think they'll be back in the office.
Oh my god!
Sometime next week.
Warwick Davis would be so proud of me. Oh my god!
My bros. My special buds.
Band of bros.
Band of bros.
say?
It's been good.
We've saved the world many
Europe.
times. We've saved
Saved
Europe, and therefore, by
The
extension,
important part of the
the
world.
world.
Yeah. You're welcome, Europe.
How you feeling, Simon?
A bit tired. A bit dirty. Yeah, the hand thing. That hurts. A bit.
Grenade Gate, as
Yeah.
it will be referred
Wow.
to from now on.
Grenade gate.
Yeah, no one will ever forget that.
I certainly won't.
So, when we were first kind of like pitching the idea of this project, were you excited about it? Were you looking forward to getting to go and play around in the mud with some vehicles? And
Well, you know me, I love being outside, physical exertion, guns, being in peril. I love all those things. They're my favourite things in the world. So I was looking forward to it immensely. And on the day, it was everything I thought it would be. I mean, on the war of years, the duration of years, it was everything that I expected it would be. But yeah, I came home. I wasn't really treated like a hero. I didn't get any medals. There wasn't a parade for me. I didn't have any of that. I just had some rabbit pie and a wank.
Do you remember the scene? The bit with the wanking.
Oh my god.
The
Oh, we can't use that. Jesus Christ.